What I'm going to talk about tonight is basically crimping tools and crimping pins. It's one of the more problematic tasks that you're going to run into when you're working on a pinball machine for the wiring. The types of connectors that I'm using are Mini-Fit Juniors and Micro-Fit Juniors. Oops, there's my kitty in the background in the Micro-Fits. The other one that you kind of work with is DuPont connectors. And they're all the Mini-Fits are fairly easy to work with. They're a little bigger. The Micro-Fits, they get a little bit more tricky to work with because they're smaller, and the DuPonts are definitely the same thing. They're small. They're harder to do good crimps on. If you want to find the good source of information on it, look up a fellow named Matt Millman. I'll put something in the comment section or in the description on the video. This particular person, Matt, has a lot of expertise on crimping tools, and there's a lot of useful information you can get from there. That's how I kind of, after I kind of poked around a bit and had some problems, went to his site, got some information from it. From that, I'm going to show a couple of the tools that I use. This is one of them that he recommended. Well, he didn't recommend, I don't want to say that, but he talked about that it does a fairly decent job on crimping some of the different connectors you have to work with. It's the iWis SN25. It's a fairly new one they came out with, and the thing is, it's got kind of a, when you crimp it down, it's got a more rounded type of anvil on it versus some of the other style crimpers like the SN28s. I think it's SN28B or something similar to that. It works pretty well. I've used it on the Mini-Fit Juniors, and it does a really good job on crimping there. It doesn't over crimp. It's probably about as close as you're going to get to the Molex factory crimping tool. If you have money, that's what I would do, is get the Molex tool, but that's going to cost you anywhere from $300 to $500 depending on where you're getting it at. It's going to be above $300 though. Expensive, and I don't have that kind of money to throw around on crimping tools for like one application type tool. One of the other crimping tools I use is this. It's made by a company called Hanlong. And this one works pretty well. There's a reason that I use the two different ones. And that's what I'm going to jump into, is talking about that. With the pins that you got on these, they have, the part that engages whether it's the male or female, they got the pin part of it. And within that, there's going to be a part that crimps the wire itself for the conductor. And there's a part that crimps down on the insulator. And what I found was that when I was trying to use the SN25, while it's good, that it kind of mangled the smaller connectors for the Micro-Fits and the DuPonts. And what it turned out, what I could tell, was the anvil, the width of the anvil is different. It's a little bit wider on the SN25 than it is on this Hanlong. And the reason that has an impact is I compared, it's the male pins that I have problems with. The female pins seem to crimp pretty acceptably on all of them. But the male pins, when you look at the difference between, for the part that crimps the insulation and the part that crimps the wire, on the female, the wings that crimp down over the conductor, the wire part, those are, on the female side, they're a little bit bigger than what they are on the male connectors, the male pins. The male has just a little bit, they're not as long if you're going from front to back on the pin. They're not quite as long, so when you put them in the crimper, it's easy to get and basically crush parts of it that you didn't intend to with the wider anvil on the SN25 is what I found. That Hanlong, I can just kind of finesse it a little bit and get a crimp out of it. Not a great one, but a crimp. But, again, your mileage is going to vary on what's going to work for you and what won't. You'll have to try them out. Just like, if you're like me, you're going to have a lot of crimps that don't go well, and you're sitting there trying more and more and buying extra pins just to try them out. But hopefully that provided some useful information. Like I said, I'll put some stuff in the description field to talk about the site I mentioned with Matt Millman and similar. So anyway, I hope that proved to provide some useful information.